Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your October forecast. How are y'all doing? You had some major eclipses happening through your first and seventh houses. And yeah, every Pisces and Virgo rising that I know has been going through something with their partner and themselves, obviously. Yes. So the month of October, this is a month of recalibration, of integration, and kind of seeing where the dust settles after this eclipse season. So your chart ruler, Jupiter, is still hanging out in your fifth house of romance, children, sex, creation, and it's exalted in the sign of Cancer. So I warned a lot of Cancer, Pisces rising, that if you do not want children, if you are not in the market for it, to be careful because this is a fertility transit. And and if that's not the case, then this is such a great time with Jupiter transiting your fifth house to focus on your creativity and romance and sex. And this is the house where, because this is the house of good fortune in astrology, this is the house to romanticize your life, to have joy and pleasure. Now Jupiter also rules your 10th house of career. So also whatever this is tied to what you want to be known for, your legacy, whatever that is. Some people don't resonate with career, but this is a very important time for you. So let's get into it. On October 4th, we have Venus in Virgo conjunct the South Node at 28 degrees. And this is a big deal for you because you have the South Node going through your seventh house of one-on-one partnerships. So you had two eclipses, like I said, and the one that was on September 21st, which oddly enough is when I'm recording this. I'm recording this on the solar eclipse in Virgo. Something about your partnership, your relationships with the other is being purged and released at this time. Saturn is transiting through your first house. So Saturn makes things more serious. There's like a reality check vibe here. So you might be having a reality check vibe situation throughout the month of October, with Saturn continuing its retrograde through your first house. And now with Venus touching with the South Node, you might be going through a breakup for some Pisces rising. Now, don't get scared if this is like out of the blue for you, because it's not like a Uranus transit, you know. This is something that if you've been on shaky ground with somebody, let's say a friend or a coworker or a business partner or your own like romantic relationship, if that has been on shaky ground, this date, October 4th ish, and this is, like after the eclipse in Scorpio, in the new moon in Virgo, then this might be the catalyst that makes you separate from this person. Venus is the planet of relationships, of love, and it's fallen here in the sign of Virgo. So, as I'm speaking about this, if you're like, oh my gosh, this shouldn't be a surprise to you if you've already had some shaky ground with a relationship, but this might be the day that you part ways. On October 6th, Mercury will ingress into the sign of Scorpio. And so Scorpio is your ninth house. The ninth house in astrology is the house of God. This is about foreign lands, foreign travel, philosophy, spirituality, and also like your personal belief systems. So this might be a time when you become very interested in learning something new. Mercury also rules your seventh house of one-on-one partnerships and your fourth house of home. You might be signing a contract of a new home, maybe abroad. You might be signing a new contract with a publisher if you're publishing a book, or you're signing a contract of some kind. And the same day, there's a full moon in Aries that happens at 14 degrees. at 11:47 p.m. Eastern time. So adjust for your time zone. And this is your second house. This is your financial sector. So there is some completion here of something that's happening around your finances. Now, the sun is still transiting through your eighth house of shared income and finances. So, like a possible scenario for a Pisces rising, again, this is only for some people. If you've been on shaky ground, maybe you were having a lot of conflict with a partner or a relationship, and then the beginning of October, the integration is you're going to break up with this person. And then this full moon is, Aries is about the self and Libra is about partnerships and relationships. This is the moment where you decide to split your finances and you decide to part ways in that way, or you're ending a contract of some kind and you're saying, okay, now I'm going to be independent from my finances from you. But whatever this is ultimately something that's going to set you free. This is going to make you feel like empowered in some way because the ruler of this full moon is Mars and Scorpio in your ninth house. You're going to feel like this is something that's going to be emotionally fulfilling for you, emotionally freeing. You're going to feel like you have this conviction inside of you because Mars is in its domicile in the sign of Scorpio. And the ninth house is in an overcoming trine to you. So this is ultimately supportive for you. So if you have like your rising sign in and around like 5 to 15 degrees of Pisces at the time of this full moon, Mars will be in a trine to you. So it was very supportive. And you have Jupiter there protecting you in the fifth house. On October 13th, Venus will ingress into the sign of Libra. So this is your eighth house. The eighth house is shared income and finances. It is the house of death and mortality. It is also the house of the occult. And so Venus moving here is in its domicile. It has a lot of resources. And this is a great time to invest in your money. This is a great time to ask for money if you've been on the market for an investment. So whatever you went through on the full moon in Aries and whatever Mars was doing through Mars in Libra transit, where Mars was probably cutting something away, Venus is kind of coming here to like soothe that wound and saying, okay, if you lost something during this time, Venus is kind of coming here to say, okay, let's heal this wounding. Let's repair this. Let's repair this and form new bonds here. And let's see. On October 21st, there will be a new moon here in your eighth house sector at 28 degrees of Libra. And this happens at 8:25 a.m. Eastern time. And the ruler of this new moon is Venus in Libra. So it's co-present here. So this is a great day to set intentions, like eighth house topics, right? If you are looking for an investment for your business, if you are looking to pay down debt, or you are looking to do something in terms of your finances with another person, this is a good day to do it. This is a good day to set that intention. Because Venus also rules your third house of Taurus. Like the third house is what you know and what is familiar to you. So you might be asking financial advice from like a sibling or a cousin or a neighbor or like a trusted person in your network for financial advice as well. So on October 22nd, Neptune will retrograde back into Pisces, so through your first house. And on the same day, the sun will ingress into Scorpio, which is your ninth house. And Mercury will be in its pre-shadow at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Now, I really like all of these transits for you because we go from Libra in October, which is a cardinal air sign. That's like eighth house topics, right? This is like an ending of some kind. This is like a death of some kind, metaphorically, of course. It's also about inheritances. And then you go to the ninth house, which is your Scorpio house. And this is the house of God where the sun has its joy. And I'm sure a lot of Pisces risings have had a really tumultuous 2025. Maybe even before that, when Saturn entered your first house back in 2023. And Saturn now is finishing up that transit. And Neptune has been in your first house since 2011. And now coming back here, it's finishing up that story. So Saturn and Neptune is always about dissolution of boundaries. And it's also about reimagining and locking something in. And this is about self. And so with the North Node transiting your first house, this is about truly honoring who you are and focusing on Pisces themes like spirituality, music, art, how you feel connected to the divinity within you. And so Neptune is about reimagining and your beliefs, maybe you're like reimagining who you can be in this lifetime. And having these eclipses go through your first and seventh, when you start to do the work on yourself and when you start to elevate in some way, naturally your vibration changes to where the people in your life, if they're not going to change their vibration with you, they're going to, just by the law of like energy, they're going to leave your life. And unfortunately, that is a sad reality of life. You're going to leave some people behind, and not everybody's going to come along with this journey with you. And that's what eclipses do. They kind of like eclipse energies. There's endings of relationships. And so for a lot of Pisces people, there was this need to surrender and let go of some people in your life. And so Saturn and Neptune coming here, I think ultimately is a gift. I know it might not feel like that, but it is a gift in reforming, because Pisces is a mutable water sign. Sometimes I think a lot of Pisces placements, they feel like they feel lost at sea. There's like no anchor point. And that's why ultimately I do like Saturn in Pisces, because it is that anchor in that overwhelming expansiveness of Pisces. And Neptune coming here is saying like, okay, what are your dreams? What do you believe in? How can we reimagine what your life looks like and feels like? And so, with the sun ingressing into Scorpio, some of you might be more like focused on studying something, learning something, traveling to a foreign land, getting into astrology, getting into philosophy, spirituality, reading a lot more. But there is this feeling of looking inward at who you really are and allowing yourself to grow and become the person that you were always meant to be. On October 29th, Mercury will ingress into the sign of Sagittarius, which is your 10th house. So then the focus goes to your 10th. And this is a great time to announce something. If you're launching something like a business venture, or you just want to make an announcement for some reason, this is a great time. There is a caveat, of course, because Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. So it really depends on what it is, right? Because the shadow aspect of Mercury in Sagittarius is being dogmatic and being very preachy about what it is that you have to say. But I think because Jupiter is currently in your fifth, you might be launching a passion project right now, or something that you've been creating and you want to bring out into the universe. Last month, when Mercury was in Virgo, because Virgo is my 10th house, that's when I announced my class offering. So this is something obviously that I had been working on, but when Mercury entered my 10th house, I was like, this is the time. So that is your month of October, Pisces. I hope you have a month of healing and recuperation after that rough September. Some of you might have had, some of you might have not felt that at all, but I hope you are taking the time to integrate everything that has come up for you. And I will see you next month. Bye.